retreat in Manila. So very nice to see you all.
My name is Myanmar. I'm from Myanmar. This is the that time.
Hello, I'm Sophie from Germany, and it's also my first retreat.
My name is Ananya. I live in Seoul. Yes.
I'm Mika, and this is also my first retreat. I'm Tanzina from Bangladesh, and I think this is my second time. Yeah.
Second time is here or?
No, I did one before in Goenka,
Oh, Goenka.
but this retreat is first time.
So here you first time.
My name is Vira Dhamma Nyani, and this is my first time in Shwe Chaung Thabarwa Center retreat. And my main is in Tallinn, Thabarwa.
Yes.
My name is Ndena. I came from Thabarwa Center. This is second time retreat in Shwe Chaung Thabarwa Center. I touched with Thabarwa Center since 2009. Thank you.
I'm talking about I'm from Yangon. Many times I joined the retreat. This is the first time to join. Listen to in English.
Hello everyone, I'm Wei, or you can call me Grace, and I'm from Yangon too. And this is my very first time to come here.
I'm Yan Wei. I'm from Mandalay. This is my first time in this retreat.
My name is Chong. I live in Mandalay, and this is the first time for retreat in this camp.
He is this Masoda and dear sister.
We've been here since December.
And we will stay.
All right.
So maybe can we start?
Okay.
So first we are paying homage to the Buddha by saying Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. That is paying homage to the Buddha. He explored and discovered the truth of the way of the end of suffering. Maybe if we have some kind of disease, we go to the doctor and maybe he cure our disease and he can make how to stop the disease. He showed a way. Maybe we will be free from suffering of disease because we follow the instruction of the doctor or physician. So we should pay gratitude to him because we can be liberated from the disease because of his instruction. On the same way, people have the mental disease such as greed, anger, ignorance, jealousy, worries, distraction, doubt, and so on. So Buddha explored how to stop the mental disease. And then physical and mental suffering, so we follow his instruction, and so we can experience directly how we can reduce our suffering, our stress, our defilement. So that is just being gratitude to him about his goal or discovery. So I would like to digest about the previous yesterday teaching, because my teaching will be related to each session. So I need to digest about the previous session, and then maybe sometimes you may forget it. So if you want, you can get the books here. You can digest and you can read again. So yesterday I discussed about what is the origin of suffering. That is the truth of causes of suffering to anyone, to any religion, to any people, for any education. So if any who has the kind of defilements or the causes of suffering, it is certain to be suffering. So can you remember what are the origin of suffering, the truth of causes of suffering?
Greed, ignorance, anger.
Yes. Yes. And so we talk about lobha, dosa, moha. And in translation, we translate that the lobha is greed or craving. And then anger means dosa means anger, hatred, distraction, frustration. They are some kind of disliking about the situation, about the object. We call dosa in Bali language. And sometimes we will use the Pali terms that is Buddha used as the Asian language for teaching about the way, about the practice.
Was it Sanskrit? Sanskrit?
Sanskrit, not Sanskrit.
It's Pali was, but Pali and Sanskrit are also related. Pali's language come from the Sanskrit.
Sanskrit is
Sanskrit is more ancient than the Pali.
Pali was not written, right?
And Pali has no alphabet. No alphabet. But Pali use the sound for writing. So that is more important and more mainly participate in the causes of suffering. That is moha. Moha means ignorance or wrong understanding. That means not knowing the truth or reality. If we do not understand the truth, that is we can call ignorance or misunderstanding. So yesterday I discussed about the two kinds of truth we need to understand to stop the ignorance, to stop the wrong understanding. Wrong understanding means not understanding about the truth, about the reality. So wrong understanding means thinking what is not real as real, what is not importance as importance. There are two kinds of truth we need to understand. Can you remember what are the two kinds of truth we need to realize? Original truth and greater truth. In the practice, our main intention is to stop or reduce or abandon these three defilements, greed, anger, and ignorance. To stop or uproot these three defilements, it is necessary to develop the three practices. In Pali language, we call sila, samadhi, panya. That is the way of ending of suffering. For anyone, for any religion, for any kind of person who can practice these sila, samadhi, panya, one can be free from suffering. because of the power of these three varieties, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So can you remember what are the Sila, Samadhi, Panya? That is the way of ending of suffering. What is Sila? Morality varieties. Samadhi means concentration varieties. And that is Panya. Panya means wisdom varieties. These three Panya means wisdom. Wisdom or insight. So these three varieties are the truth of the way of ending of suffering. Because these three varieties will be always true for the way as the way of ending of suffering. For anyone, for any religion, for any kind of person who can practice these ways successfully, it will be free from all kinds of suffering. So that is roughly about we need to understand what is meditation and the purpose of meditation. So three defilements, lobha, dosa, moha, are negativities that will produce the sufferings. On the other hand, the sila, samadhi, panya, morality, concentration, and wisdom are positivities or that are right qualities to be free from sufferings. So in the practice, in the way, we will try to reduce and stop the defilements, greed, anger, and ignorance, and we will try to develop sila, samadhi, panya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. Yesterday I also discussed about what is the meaning of morality. What is morality? And taking 5 precepts. Why taking 5 precepts or 8 precepts, or for the monks 227 precepts? Why we need to take the precepts? Why we need morality? Why?
Because this is the cause and then to the other for suffering.
Yes, if we do not take the precepts, that means we will harm to others living beings because of our action, our speaking. If you are causing the suffering to others living beings, that is producing the defilements, greed, anger, and ignorance in our life. If we are producing the greed, anger, and ignorance, we cannot be free from suffering. For example, for the killing, to kill the others living being, you need to produce the anger or hatred. For stealing, you need to produce the craving or attachment about the others' properties. So without taking precepts, that means you will be producing the defilements that are origin of suffering. As long as we are producing the causes of suffering, greed, anger, and ignorance, we cannot be free from suffering. But later I will use the terms is wrong understanding and attachment. Greed and anger is some kind of attachment. Greed or craving is one kind of attachment. That is one kind of liking about the situation, about the objects. Anger or hatred is also one kind of attachment. You have animosity, you have strong hatred to someone, some situation, that is also one kind of attachment. Attachment means liking or disliking, anger or greed, craving or animosity. So, wrong understanding means ignorance, moha. If we do not have the right understanding about the truth, about the reality, you will have the ignorance and misunderstanding I, mine as reality. So later I will use the terms is a wrong understanding and attachment. That is origin of suffering. Wrong understanding means moha. Attachment means greed and anger. So wrong understanding and attachment are origin of suffering. greed, anger, ignorance are origin of suffering that are necessary to reduce and abandon in our life for anyone who wants to be free from suffering. So first practice is morality, that is not to harm to others living beings because of our action, because of our speech. And then second practice is about the concentration practice. And Uzen Yivarananda, the monk, always remind in the meditation practice, in his guiding, he always remind you to be mindful, to be calm down, and to be concentrated, to be peaceful. So second practice is the concentration practice. But concentrated mind or calm mind cannot arise without the mindfulness. So mindfulness is the key of concentration practice. Yesterday I discussed about what is mindfulness and when we should be mindful. So when we should be mindful in meditation center or where we can be mindful. All the time means at the right moment of contact in our six sensitivities, which they are corresponding objects. In dependent origination, we call phassa. Phassa means contact, at the right contact of our six senses, which they are corresponding objects. It is necessary to be mindful. Mindfulness means attentive awareness or knowingness at the present moment or present contact in our six sensitivities. That's been trying to replace about the mental process of wrong understanding and attachment with the mindful mind. So there are six sensitivities we need to understand because we will try to be mindful at the right moment of our six sensitivities. So can you remember what are the six sensitivities? So eye sense, ear sense, nose sense, tongue sense, and body sense, and mind sense, six sense. In six senses, five senses are physical in nature and one sense is mental nature. So these six senses cannot stay alone. They will come in contact with their corresponding objects. For the eye sense will contact with the visible object. Ear sense will contact with the sound object. Nose sense will contact with the smell object. Body sense will contact with the tangible object. And then mind sense will contact with the mental objects, such as thought, idea, speculation, imagination. They are mental objects. So at the moment of contact, we will try just to be mindful without attaching or rejecting. For the moment of thinking arising, that is contact of mental objects with mind sense. At the moment of thought arising, we should be mindful without attaching or rejecting. I think most of the meditators think thinking or sounds or pain as a disturbance in the meditation practice. The key of mindfulness practice is just to be mindful without attaching or rejecting. For example, at the moment of pain arising, most of the meditators try to stop it, try to reduce it. That means they expect to be reduced or to be end, to be finished, that pain very fast. This is not the right attitude about the mindfulness. If you have the desire to reject it, to stop it, but you cannot stop it, your mind becomes frustrated and disappointment about the present situation. So you cannot be mindful in the right way. Maybe you want to stop the thought or thinking. But thinking can arise depending on past attachment. The more attachment, the more thinking, the more thought. You have already done about the causes of thought. The thinking or thought will arise, surely. You cannot totally reject them. The main key of the practice is we do not attach or reject about any arising thought or pain or sounds or any object. We do not attach or we do not reject about any arising, physical or mental. But we will just use any arising, any object in our six sensitivities to be mindful with right understanding. That means we will use any arising, any object to be mindful with right understanding, but without attaching or rejecting. Because desire to attach is lobha, desire to reject is dosa. Desire to continue the something happening, that is craving, and desire to stop, desire to finish very fast is dosa or disliking or some kind of defilements. So the key of mindfulness is just to be aware, just to be knowing without attaching or rejecting. Can you understand? But that is for the theory of for the practice about the mindfulness. But you do not have the complete right understanding. You cannot be mindful only, knowing only, without attachment or without rejectment. So mindfulness should be together with right understanding or wisdom. You do not have the wisdom or right understanding. You cannot be being mindful only, knowing only, without attachment. You will be mindful with bias or attachment or liking or disliking. That means you think that is I, mine, and you think that is really good. You try to continue, you try to attach it. But you think that is truly bad one of I, mine. You cannot be mindful only. You try to stop it, you try to finish it. So to be mindful only, knowing only, without attachment, it is necessary to have the wisdom or right understanding. That is that practice in the meditation. Yesterday I discussed about what is wisdom or right understanding. Right understanding means understanding about the truth, about the reality. Right understanding means understanding what is real as real and what is not real as not real. If you think what is not real as real, that is ignorance. That is misunderstanding. To have the wisdom, to have the right understanding, it is necessary to understand two kinds of truth. The created truth and original truth. So who can little bit explain about what is the created truth? Yesterday I discussed about what are the created truths. Yeah? Sorry?
Nationalities?
No?
Nazri?
What?
Luxury.
Oh, luxury. Oh, luxury. Yes? That is created truth. Created truth means that is not truly existing in reality, but apparently existing because of our mental creation or ignorance. Can you little bit explain about what are the created truths?
Yeah, you said that, for example, the cake for us is a created truth because we take the cake as a concept. It's actually just a combination of different ingredients like sugar, wheat, salt, soda, water. And in the end, if you disintegrate those individual ingredients, you cannot find the cake in any of those. You don't know where the cake actually is because you can separate it all into its ingredients.
So can you understand? So that is about the greater truths regarding to the composition. The so-called I, you, human is also just a combination of 32 organs regarding to Buddha teaching. Do you know about the 32 organs? So-called I, you is just a combination of hair, teeth, nails, bones, skin, liver, stomach, intestine, blood, and so on. So which one is I or human? Is hair human? Is teeth human? Is nail human? Is bone human? Is stomach human? So we cannot find out the human. Human or I, something, someone, cake, church, monastery, they are just a concept or created truth regarding to the composition of different items, different things together. If you separate the different items in different area, we cannot find out the something, someone as reality. Can you understand? So that means first we need to understand created truth as created truth. Something, someone, I, mine, individual, self-ego are just a concept of created truth. Created truths are just for using only, just for knowing only, just for experiencing only, without attaching or rejecting. The many is original truth or created truth? And created truth. Many has the created value. It do not have the original value because that is just a paper. But you maybe if you reach to the desert and you lost the way, you cannot find out the supermarket and shop, restaurant. Maybe someone will ask you to choose maybe millions of dollars and maybe the month of the on to liberated from the desert. You will choose the man to be liberated from the desert. But now I will ask you to choose maybe millions of dollars and the man to be free from desert. I will choose only the millions of dollars. So the value of money is not real value. It will change depending on the situation or condition. For the monkey, banana will be more valuable than the millions of dollars because you cannot use the money. So what I mean is money or something, someone are not real value, but they will have the greater value. Greater truths or greater value are not for attaching or not for rejecting, but we are used in the right way for doing good deeds or for spiritual development. So that is right understanding about the greater truths. At the same time, we should understand what are the original truths. Yesterday I discussed about 3 kinds of original truth. Who can remember what are the 3 kinds of original truth?
Physical nature, mental nature, living.
So there are 3 kinds of truth, 3 kinds of nature we need to understand. Greater truths are not always true. They will change according to time or situation. Maybe I can change my religion. I can change my nationality. If the chance happens, I can migrate to other country. But I cannot change the bodily process or aging process of our body, bodily nature or mental nature. That are just a natural phenomenon. So to have the right understanding we need to understand about the original truth that are physical nature, mental nature, and nirvana nature. Nirvana nature I will discuss about later. First, we need to understand what are their physical nature, physical truth, and what are their mental nature, mental truth. Yesterday I discussed about the physical nature, and I talk, and today I will discuss about the mental nature. So I need to digest what are the physical nature. Who can remember? Yes, 4 elements.
4 elements, but not like we used to say them.
Wind nature.
Fire nature, water nature, wind nature, earth nature are physical nature. We call physical nature. Physical nature is I or you. And physical nature is just the physical nature that are changing regarding to their condition. We cannot press fire or water or wind or earth nature as I, mine or personal belonging. They will change and they will process regarding to their condition. We cannot hold on them as I, mine or forever. So first we should understand physical nature as physical nature. We should not misunderstand physical nature as I, mine or personal belonging. That is right understanding. For example, at the moment of feeling pain, at the moment of hardness, at the moment of hotness happening in our body, first we should be mindful, hotness as hotness, pain as pain. But we should not think these are I, mine or personal belonging. But we should analyze they are just the energy changing because of the conditions such as climate, nutrients. If the climate is hot, our body becomes hot. Our body becomes hot. The hotness in our body is not personal belonging, but it can arise depending on the condition of the climate. If the climate is hot, we cannot restrict. My body should not be hot. That means we cannot we cannot restrict or we cannot limit the body not to involve with the environments, because our body is just a part of the environments and you will have the relation about their respective condition. That means we should understand physical nature as physical nature, 4 elements as 4 elements. We should not think 4 elements as I, mine or personal belonging. For the moment of pain arising, hotness arising, hardness arising in our body, we should be mindful with right understanding. They are not I, mine, but they are just the physical nature of 4 elements that are changing from moment to moment. Can you understand? Now I would like to discuss about what are the mental nature, what are the mental truth. Maybe you can a little bit discuss about what are the mental nature, because that's the retreat. Can you remember?
Nature is also no self-nature, dependent also, arises from matter, Dhamma, different causes, but also changing, no self.
So, for the physical nature, we can classify into 4 kinds of physical nature. On the same way, the mental nature we can classify into 4 qualities, 4 kinds. What are they? They are consciousness, vinyan, feeling, vedana, and perception, sanya, and volition, sankhara. So, what the mental nature means, it is not the self or single mind in our body or in our brain, but only the 4 mental process, 4 mental qualities that are consciousness, feeling, perception, and volition. In Pali language, we call feeling means Vedana, Sanya means perception or judging, Sankara means volition or motivation, and then Vinya means consciousness. These four mental qualities are not existing in some way. They are not coming from some way. So where they are existing? The so-called mind is not a single mind that is existing in some way. Some people think in the mind there will be feeling, in the mind there will be consciousness, in the mind there will be the judging or perception, and in the mind there will be the motivation or volition. In fact, it is not like that in reality of the mental nature. If you think the mind is existing like a container, within it feeling is happening, motivation is happening, perception is happening, judging is happening, knowing is happening, it is not correct. In fact, for example, so sound arising, sound contact to your ear, sensitivities. At the moment of right contact, what will be arising as mental nature? How do you think? What mental nature arise? Sound contact, ear, sensitivities. What will be produced?
Hearing consciousness.
Hearing consciousness. Now I will put some sugar in your hand. What kind of consciousness will be produced? Touching consciousness. When I will put sugar into your tongue, this consciousness can arise. Maybe someone use the perfumes. Maybe he sit behind you. What will? What kind of consciousness can arise? Smelling consciousness. So there are 6 kinds of senses and 6 kinds of objects that contact will produce 6 kinds of consciousness. So that means at the moment of contact of our 6 senses with their corresponding objects, the consciousness or knowingness will arise. So hearing consciousness can arise at the moment of sound arising. Now you can hear about my teaching, about my voice. So before my voice arising, hearing consciousness has not been existing beforehand. Hearing consciousness does not come from somewhere. So hearing consciousness can arise at the moment of eye contact of ear sense with the sound energies, sound object. On the same way, I will put some sugar into your tongue. Maybe at the moment of contact, your tongue sense with the sugar object, taste object, it will produce the tasting consciousness. Tasting consciousness has not been existing beforehand in your tongue. Tasting consciousness does not come from air. But at the moment of right contact of your tongue sense with the taste, it can produce, it can arise the tasting consciousness. So what I mean is consciousness is not existing in some way, has not been existing beforehand at the moment of contact. But they can arise at the right moment of contact of our 6 senses with their corresponding object. So what I mean is the so-called my mind or your mind is just a concept of created truth. The reality is just the appearing and disappearing of 4 mental qualities at the right moment of contact of our 6 senses with their corresponding object. To understand the existence of the mind or consciousness, we need to understand the existence of the sound or fire in the nature. Now I will play the guitar. At the moment of touching, my hand with the guitar string and hollow balls, it will produce the music or sound. That music is not existing in my hand beforehand. Where is the sound coming? The sound or music does not come from somewhere. The sound is not existing in the guitar box. But at the right moment of contact, my hand, guitar string and guitar balls can condition, can produce the sound arising, music arising. So music is not existing in some way. The sound is not existing in some way, but it can produce, it can condition at the right moment of contact of their respective condition. Do you understand? So what I mean is, the mental nature, consciousness, feeling, perception, volition are not existing in some way. But at the moment of contact of our six senses with their corresponding object, it will condition these four mental qualities to be arise, to be produced. Now I teach about the meditation. So the vice about the teaching arise and it will contact to your ear sensitivities. At the moment of contact, first consciousness will arise about the sound, knowingness will arise. And then it will condition, the perception or judging will arise about my teaching. Or do you think my teaching is interesting or boring? That is mental nature. That is judgment or identifying about the object. Not only the hearing, but also you eat something, you see someone, you get some experience, judging or identifying will happen. That is the quality of perception we call sanya. Have you tried the Myanmar traditional food, moringa? So it is good or bad? Generally we try not to judge, but the mental nature will judge naturally, depending on the content of our six sensitivities. Most of the teacher teach not to judge about the situation, about the object, but one kind of mental nature is trying to judge, trying to identify. That is quality of sanya or perception. So that is one kind of mental nature we need to understand. Our main intention of the practice is not to attach and not to reject about the arising of mental nature, but just to be mindful without thinking as personal belonging or personal happening. Sometimes you may judge as good or bad. Sometimes you may identify about the situation is good one or bad one, whether you like or dislike. At the moment of judging, you should understand, judging as judging. That is impermanent nature, conditional nature. It is not personal. That means we do not try to attach or reject about the mental nature, whether consciousness or judging or feeling or volition. We will try just to be mindful without attaching or without rejecting. That is mindfulness with the right understanding practice. So first, consciousness will arise. Second, judging or perception will arise. And then feeling can arise, depending on our perception. Maybe we will eat together about the spicy food. I think most of the Westerners dislike about the spicy food, and then unpleasant can arise. But most of the Myanmar people, Thailand people like the spicy food. We will experience about the same food, same experience, but Depending on perception or judging, the feeling may be different to each other. If your mind judge, that is good, that is pleasant, maybe liking feeling can arise. Maybe if your mind judge, that is not good, not pleasant, a disliking feeling can arise. So feeling is one of the mental nature. You cannot totally stop it. You cannot totally avoid it. So feeling is one kind of mental nature. Can you understand? So how many kinds I have already explained? 3. Huh? One is consciousness, perception, feeling, and then 4 is volition. Volition is important in mental practice, mental process, because later it becomes the karma or potential that will produce the result or that will decide about the future. And just now I discussed about the defilements, greed, anger, ignorance. They are negative volition that will produce or that will decide about the future, give the result what you dislike. At the moment of greed volition arising, you try to get it, you try to continue it. So if you have the strong greed, strong attachment, you do not consider about others' situation, maybe you do not have the compassion mind, you try only to get it. So what I mean is, volition means motivation or intention to get something or to stop it. There are positive volition and negative volition. Positive volition will become the good karma and negative volition will become the bad karma. Karma means the potential that will give the result in the future. Karma cannot arise by itself. Karma can arise depending on our positive volition and negative volition. Generally, we should understand greed, anger, ignorance, wrong understanding are negative volition, and non-greed, non-anger, non-ignorance, that means mindfulness, generosity, wisdom are good volition or positive motivation. Do you know volition? Volition means sankara, that is motivation, intention in mental process. The most important things to understand in mental nature is these 4 mental processes, these 4 mental qualities are not happening in the mind. That means you consider mind is container and existent or holder that can receive about the consciousness, about the feeling, about the judging, and about the volition. It's not like that. Consciousness will arise and disappear at the right moment of contact. Feeling also will arise and cease at the moment of contact. And then volition and perception also will arise and disappear totally at the right moment of contact. They do not happen in the container or something. Most of the people think there is soul or single mind is existing in our body, and that soul, that mind is doing the function about the consciousness, feeling, judging, and volition. To stop the wrong idea of self or soul, it is necessary to understand there is only the consciousness process that are appearing and disappearing. Behind that consciousness process, there is no single mind or no soul that conceives the object. On the same way, we should understand about the feeling process. There is only the feeling process that are appearing and disappearing from moment to moment. Behind the feeling process, there is no single mind or no single soul that feels the object. On the same way, we should understand about the perception of judging process. There is only the appearing and disappearing process of judging or perception. Behind the perception process, behind the appearing and disappearing of perception, there is no single mind, no single soul that perceives the object, that judge the object, that is good, that is bad. On the same way, there is only the appearing and disappearing process of volition or motivation. There is, behind the volition process, motivation process, there is no single mind or single soul that motivates about the object, about the situation. အဲ့ဒါကမှလည်းပြောမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့တီးမှုတွေပဲဖြစ်ပြတယ်။တီးမှုတွေရဲ့နောက်ွယ်မှာတီးနေတဲ့လူမရှိဘူး။တီးနေတဲ့အတ္တဝိညာဉ်မရှိဘူး။ခံစားမှုတွေပဲဖြစ်ပြနေတယ်။ခံစားမှုတွေရဲ့နောက်ွယ်မှာခံစားနေတဲ့လူမရှိဘူး။ခံစားနေတဲ့စိတ်ကလေးအတ္တလေးမရှိဘူး။တို့လူပဲမှတ်သားတဲ့သဘောတွေပေါ့။မှတ်သားတဲ့သဘောတွေပဲစိတ်ပြီးတစ်စိတ်ဖြစ်ပြနေတယ်။မှတ်သားမှုတွေရဲ့ဖြစ်ပြမှုတွေရဲ့နောက်ွယ်မှာမှတ်သားနေတဲ့လူမရှိဘူး။မှတ်သားနေတဲ့စိတ်ကလေးအတ္တလေးမရှိဘူး။တို့လူပဲစိတ်စောတိုက်တွန်းမှုတွေလောဘတွေဒေါသတွေဖြစ်နေတယ်။ဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့လောဘဒေါသတွေရဲ့ဖြစ်ပြမှုနောက်ွယ်မှာလောဘဖြစ်နေတဲ့လူမရှိဘူး။ဒေါသထွက်နေတဲ့လူမရှိဘူး။ဒီနေ့ကနေလောဘစိတ်ဒေါသစိတ်စိတ်စောတိုက်တွန်းမှုတွေရဲ့ဖြစ်ပြမှုစိတ်ဖြစ်စဉ်ရဲ့နောက်ွယ်မှာစိတ်စောနေတဲ့စိတ်ကလေးအတ္တလေးဝိညာဉ်လေးမရှိဘူးလို့နားလည်ရ That is the highest teaching of the Buddha for insight, for right understanding. That means there is no single mind, no single soul behind the four mental process, four mental qualities that are appearing and disappearing from moment to moment, depending on the content of our six sensitivities. Can you understand? And this understanding about the mental nature is deep and wide. We need to take the time to understand. Because traditional belief, traditional understanding about the mental nature is when people have one single mind, one single soul is existing throughout our life. Maybe if you can believe about the rebirth, that single soul, single mind will transmigrate to the new body after death. And yes, we talk about the rebirth, but it is not the transmigration about the soul, but the conditioning and effects of the four mental qualities, four mental process. So maybe we will meditate together for 30 minutes. If no more questions, so any question, and you can ask. So
can you give examples for there's no single mind behind the consciousness or some feelings, angry? Can you explain the examples? It's very difficult to understand.
Anyone explain?
Yeah, it's as he says, it's changing from moment to moment, and I think they say it's like billions of such moments within 1 second, and it's like a flux, a flow of consciousness, which is combined from what we take in with our senses, and this is creating this flow of consciousness, and this is appearing and disappearing like billions of moments, like very, very short, and this is creating our experience, like what we think, what we are. That's why, yeah, that's why everybody of us has different perceptions. So
yeah, for example, now you can understand song, beer and disappear around moment. But I will class very fast. Maybe either one touch, one song can arise. One touch, one song can arise. One touch, one song can arise. But I will get the tree with the drum machines. First cutting, G, G, G. But the cutting is very fast. Maybe I will touch continuously. Maybe G, 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 G. And then G. Maybe I will do the continuous touching about the tree, about the drum machine. The single song or the same song appear to be existing, G. But it is not a single song that is existing along the timeline. But it is just the appearing and disappearing of a lot of one song after another from moment to moment. But that appearing and disappearing of one song after another is very fast, very smooth. It appears to the same song is existing along the timeline. But it is not like that. It is not a single song that is remaining along the timeline, but it is just appearing and disappearing, arising and ceasing of a lot of songs, one after another, from moment to moment. On the same way, consciousness appear and disappear around moments. So that means hearing consciousness, smelling consciousness, tasting consciousness, touching consciousness are happening one after another, consecutively and very smoothly. After that, feeling, perception, volition, another mental nature are happening, arising and ceasing one after another. The arising and ceasing rate is so fast, so smooth, so gentle. So we misunderstand. One single mind or one single soul is existing in our body or in our brain.
There's always only one mind arising. So every smallest unit of time, there's only one sense contact, which is taken in your subconscious mind. But it happens so fast that we mix them up and they influence each other. And so the mixing up, the blending of those experiences, different contacts, they are making the experience. But there's always one at the moment only.
I'm clear now, thank you.
Yes.
So there's like, is there then no separation between the body and the mind? As mind is more kind of this flux, which is evolving and like changing all the time, or like is there, and like regarding the six senses, is this our senses, or is it like also just like we don't identify with this, you know?
Yeah, we should not identify, because there's nothing which is not changing underneath, which would hold together. Like when he explains, there's nothing what he can call like Soe Win Htut, like his name, because if you take all the small things apart, you don't find the person. Where is the person? It's just our concept. Or like a tree, where is the tree? If you look at the tree, there is only leaves, there is bark, there is branches, twigs, but the tree itself is not inherently there. You cannot find it. And what he says, that's what when we do it with the body, like there is the body and the four mental qualities, what he was describing. That's everything what we are. There's nothing beyond that which holding all those things together.
Another example is we like the footballing. For example, maybe Manchester United. That is existing for over 100 years. Generally, we can say that footballing is existing for 100 years. Footballing means just a combination of 11 players But these 11 layers is not existing for 100 years. They are changing from time to time. So generally, this foreboding is existing for 100 years. So which layer is existing for 100 years? Goalkeeper is also changing, defender is also changing, midfield player is also changing, the striker is also changing. So that means the Manchester United that is existing for 100 years is just a concept or created truth. The reality is just a changing or rising and passing away of 11 players from time to time. So Manchester United that is existing for 100 years is not reality. They are just a concept or created truth. On the same way, the soul is look like the Manchester United that is existing for some years. For example, my name is Soe Win Htut. Now I am 42 years old. That means my soul is existing for 42 years. My soul will be existing for 42 years. But it is like the Manchester United. What is the soul? The soul means just a combination of four mental processes, like the 11 players. Because this full body can exist because of the combination of 11 players. Without the 11 players, maybe one or two players is missing or cannot participate. We cannot say that is full body because 11 players should be complete. On the same way, the so-called soul or self is just a combination of four mental qualities: consciousness, feeling, perception, and volition. So these four mental processes are also not existing or remaining as the same one, as the same consciousness, or as the same feeling, or as the same perception around the timeline. They are also changing or renewing or ceasing from moment to moment. But we cannot understand these four mental processes are arising and ceasing from moment to moment. We misunderstand these four mental processes as soul or self. Some people are praising about the foreboding, that is my favorite, that is my name, because they think that is real existent for 100 years. They are very proud of their existence for a long time. So some foreboding right now since 1920 like that. So that means they think that they are existent of some years as reality. So they are strong attachment and so proud of their existence. In fact, real existence is just the appearing and disappearing of physical and mental energies at the right moment of contact. But we do not understand the right impermanence or right disappearance of physical and mental energies in the right way. So we think something or someone or individual are existing for some years or some period. So that is deep and wide, we need to understand and we need to take time. So maybe a 3 minutes break and then we will meditate together.